Hey folks, Legionnaire Archery here. What I am doing today is I will be just giving you a brief overview as how I make arrows. So the way here you have some examples, and pretty much this is most of the material that I use when I make arrow shafts, or arrows rather. The only thing I'm missing here is the sandpaper and obviously the sealer that I use, but the wood that I like to use throughout the years that I've come to fall in love with for arrow shafts is hazel. Hazel is very workable, nice. It's not too hard to work with. The tool, or rather this tool right here, you have a great time going through the hazel, and it is not that delicate when you're shooting it. It doesn't tend to be weak like Port Oxford cedar shafts. The weakest shafts that I've seen are probably Port Oxford cedar, and they're very weak. They'll dent very easily. I've used these hundreds of times. I've shot them probably hundreds of times, or maybe even thousands of times. But I've shot these arrows a long time now, and I mean they're pretty much still together. I don't see any imperfections on them. There's a few dents here and there, but it's nothing that would be compared to what you would get with Port Oxford cedar shafts. So I do all my own arrows, and what I like to do first is, first of all, you need to get the shafts. These shafts, I got them already pre-cut, because I don't have hazel in my area, so I can't cut them myself. But I told the guy to get me a little bit over 3/8 of an inch, almost to half an inch, because what I like to do is I like to go at them with this, which is a 3-inch block plane. So once they're like that, well, first of all, they're not gonna be straight like this because I've already straightened these. But when you get them, you're gonna want to bundle them. When you take them, when they're dried, you take them out of the bundle, and after that you're gonna have to straighten them. So you straighten them over heat. You put a little bit of grease or oil or whatever you use. You put it on the shaft so that you don't scorch the wood, and then you just go over it with the heat, and you bend it over your knee, or you use an arrow straightener. After you go ahead and straighten your shafts, keep in mind you're gonna have to straighten them about 2 to 3 times, possibly even more. But I straighten them once, then I thin them down. Once they're thinned down, I straighten them again, and then I sand them. I use 60 grit sandpaper to get rid of all the tool marks, and then I just progressively move up from there until I reach the grit that I like. And once you have the shaft complete, that's pretty much the most important part. And so I don't worry too much about spine. I just depending if I'm going for a lower weight, I get them down to a thinner. I thin them out a little bit more. Those are 3/8 of an inch right now. The way you measure them is you drill a hole on a piece of wood, and you just pass them through as you're thinning them out. And then once they pass through, you know that you're at 3/8. Don't overdo it. You want to be sure that you do that slowly and carefully, so that you don't go and make the arrow shaft too thin. Once you go ahead and do that, then you have that arrow shaft complete. You can straighten it again. Sometimes I weigh them. It depends. If I want to make a super accurate set, you're gonna want to make sure you weigh them. And when that happens, I usually get them within 10 grains of each other. The way to get the weight down is to take the wood off of the ends rather than from the center, because if you take a lot of wood from the center, it'll weaken the center, and that will give you a different spine. So when you're getting the arrows to a lower physical weight, you're gonna want to thin them out from the ends, either from the front or the back, and that's how I match my arrows. pretty much. So basically that's just an overview of how I do it. There's many different ways of doing it, and so I always love to decorate my arrows and get creative. On these arrows you can see I put my name on there. These are incised with heat. I have a tool that'll heat itself up, and you can go ahead and do incisions on wood like such. And so I like doing that to my arrows, as well as painting them. You can see there's a little bit of color on the incisions, and even the silk that I use to wrap them gives them a little bit more of a decorative touch. Of course, with all the use that I give them, you know, that silk wrapping has now been gone, and so, you know, they'll stay nice for a little bit, but then once you get to use them, they'll start breaking down. These have lasted a long time, and that's because the shafts are good shafts. They're, like I said, Hazel's not too strong, but it's not that weak either, so it will take a good beating, and they will last you a long time. Anyways, thank you for watching the video. And so I just wanted to show you guys how I make my arrows. I don't think I've shown that ever before, and so I wanted to share that with you. I hope you've enjoyed the video, and I hope it helps. Hope it helps in you with making your own arrows. I know it's not a tutorial, but it's just an overview. You can get an idea of what I do. Anyways, thank you for watching.